She already told you she liked you. Not with words, not with a text message, not with a single bold, obvious move. She told you with 3 things. And one of them, the third one, happens so quietly, so subtly, that most men are looking the other way when it occurs. I've been studying human connection for over 2 decades, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, the signal I'm about to show you at the end of this video rewired how thousands of men understand attraction. But here's the problem. If you don't know what to look for, you'll miss her signal. You'll walk away, and she'll quietly wonder why you didn't notice. Stay with me, because before we get to that third signal, I need to show you the 2 that come before it. And if you recognize both in a woman, the third one is almost certainly already happening too. Let's begin. Hello, and welcome back to Mindful Senior Living, where we go deep into the psychology of human connection, emotional intelligence, and everything that shapes the relationships we build later in life. I'm Mary Smith, and if you're new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button right now because every week we publish conversations that quietly change the way you understand people. Now, before we get into the 3 signs, I want to say something important. If you've ever walked away from a conversation and later thought, wait, was she interested in me? You are not alone, and you are not clueless. You were simply never taught the language she was speaking. Today, we're translating it. Before we go further, I want to ask you something. Has there ever been a woman in your life where you look back now and think, she may have been giving me signs I completely missed? Drop the word missed in the comments below. I read every single one. Here's what most people don't understand about attraction. Research from the University of Stirling, published in the journal Evolutionary Psychology, found that women display attraction through what scientists call low-amplitude behavioral cues. Low amplitude, that means small, quiet, easy to miss. Men, by contrast, tend to express interest in louder, more obvious ways. Direct eye contact, direct speech, direct movement. Women, they open doors. Quiet, small, invisible doors. And they wait, not passively, but deliberately, to see who notices them. This is not manipulation. It's not a test designed to confuse you. It is biology. It is psychology. It is the quiet architecture of feminine desire. And once you understand it, everything changes. Why the third sign is the one that almost never gets noticed, and why it reveals the most. Let's start with the first signal, touch. But not the kind you're thinking of. Not a hug, not a handshake, not anything dramatic. I'm talking about the kind of touch that lasts exactly 1 second too long. Here's what the neuroscience says. When attraction begins to activate in the brain, a hormone called oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, starts to increase. And oxytocin has a fascinating effect on behavior. It drives the body toward physical closeness, not aggressively, not obviously, subtly. She might touch your arm while laughing. She might adjust something on your sleeve, a piece of lint that may or may not actually be there. She might guide you slightly through a crowd, her hand resting on your arm just a moment longer than it needs to. None of these gestures are loud, but together they form a pattern. And patterns tell stories words never do. A real story. A man once told me about a birthday gathering where he met a woman for the first time. The conversation flowed easily. Music, travel, laughter. 3 times during that conversation, she touched his arm. Once while laughing, once while making a point. Once, she brushed something invisible off his sleeve. He thought nothing of it. Months later, they reconnected, and she told him, "I kept touching your arm because I wanted to see if you felt the connection too." He had missed every single signal. Here's a question for you. Has a woman ever touched your arm during a conversation, and you only realized later what it might have meant? Write the word touch in the comments. I want to know how common this really is, and I'll reply to your stories. 1 touch, might be casual. 2 touches in the same conversation, pay attention. 3 or more, she is telling you something, not with words, with her body language. And here's something critical I want you to remember before we move forward. Awareness doesn't mean analysis. It means presence. You don't need to sit there calculating every touch. You simply need to be in the moment enough to notice it, which leads us to the second signal. And this one lives in her eyes. If you've stayed with me this far, I want you to know sign 3 is coming, and I think it's going to genuinely surprise you. Because unlike touch or eye contact, this one doesn't happen in front of you. It happens around you. Stay with me. Now, the eyes. You've heard the phrase, the eyes are the window to the soul. That's not just poetry. It's neuroscience. Research published in the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior shows that romantic interest consistently alters gaze patterns, specifically in duration, frequency of return, and what's called softening behavior. Here's what that means in plain language. When a woman feels attraction, she doesn't stare. She cycles. She looks at you, holds your gaze a half-second longer than average, then glances downward or away, not dismissively, but almost shyly. And then she comes back. That rhythm. Look, soften, away, return. That is one of the quietest signatures of growing desire. And there's more. Studies on pupil dilation, led by researcher Eckhard Hess at the University of Chicago, found that when people look at something or someone they find attractive, their pupils involuntarily dilate. The brain recognizes something it wants, and the body literally opens up in response. You can't fake it. You can't control it. It simply happens. Now, I'm not suggesting you spend your next date staring into someone's pupils with a measuring device. The real signal is simpler than that. It's warmth. When a woman is attracted to you, her gaze feels present, engaged. Like she isn't just hearing your words, she's feeling the moment alongside you. And there's one more layer to this that most people overlook completely. She remembers the details. When someone's attention is genuinely captured, the brain encodes information differently. She'll remember the story you told, the small thing you mentioned, the offhand comment you forgot the moment you said it. If a woman quotes your own words back to you later, that is not coincidence. That is attention. And attention is the first step of desire. I want to ask you something personal. When was the last time someone, man or woman in any context, really made you feel like they were truly listening? Not just waiting for their turn to talk, but actually present with you. Drop your answer below. These moments matter more than we realize. All right, we've talked about touch. We've talked about eye contact. Now, the third signal. The one I promised you at the very beginning. The one that happens right under most men's noses, and almost nobody notices it in time. Here it is. She creates privacy where none existed. Let me explain. Most social situations are shared. Parties, restaurants, gatherings, workplaces. They're designed for groups, multiple people, open conversations. But when a woman begins to feel genuine attraction towards someone, something very specific starts to happen. She starts engineering small moments of separation. Not dramatically, not obviously, not in a way that draws any attention at all. She might say, "Come here for a second, I want to show you something." She might suggest grabbing a drink together from across the room. She might lower her voice, lean slightly closer, and share a comment meant only for you. Psychologists call these micro-environments. Small, intentional pockets of space that allow deeper connection to develop naturally, away from the noise and performance of the group. Here's why this matters. For many women, emotional safety is the gateway to desire. She doesn't just want to know if she finds you attractive. She wants to know how you feel when the audience disappears. Are you relaxed? Are you present? Do you become more yourself? Or do you get awkward and overthink? That small moment she creates, it's not an accident. It is an invitation. A real story. At a friend's engagement party, 30 people, music, laughter. A man had spent the evening in pleasant, casual conversation with a woman he had just met. Then she said it. "Hey, come see this photo album on the side table. My friend just put it out." They stepped away from the group together, and something shifted. The energy became quieter, more personal. The conversation went deeper. They talked for nearly an hour without realizing it. He told me later, "I realized the album wasn't the point at all. The moment was." She had created the moment, and he had, almost by instinct, walked right into it. Has someone ever pulled you aside, suggested a walk, asked your opinion about something away from the group, found a reason to create a quiet moment just for the two of you? Write yes or no in the comments. I want to see how many of you have experienced this, because I suspect it's far more common than people realize. Let's pause. 3 signals, 3 whispers. Touch. Intentional, soft, slightly longer than necessary. Eye contact. Warm, cycling, present, remembering. Private space. A micro moment created quietly, just for you. None of these are dramatic. None of them shout. They whisper. And here's the truth that I think matters most. Confidence in relationships rarely comes from saying the perfect thing. It comes from awareness. When you understand what's happening around you, you stop guessing. You stop performing. You simply respond to the energy that's already present between two people. And that shift, from guessing to understanding, is one of the most powerful changes a man can experience in how he moves through the world. A man once told me that for years he believed he was simply bad at reading women. Then one evening in a coffee shop, he had a conversation with a woman sitting nearby. She touched his arm while laughing. She held his gaze a moment too long, then looked down and returned. And then, she said, "It's a little loud over here. Do you want to sit somewhere quieter?" He recognized all three, and instead of overthinking, he simply stayed present. He said, "For the first time, I didn't feel like I was trying to make something happen. I just noticed what was already happening." That is the real power of understanding human behavior. It replaces confusion with clarity, and clarity brings calm confidence. Now, I want to leave you with a small challenge. The next time you're in a social setting, a gathering, a coffee shop, even a quiet moment at work, observe more than you speak. Notice who turns toward you. Notice whose eye contact lingers and returns. Notice who finds a reason to pull you slightly aside. You may be surprised by how much information is flowing around you, in complete silence. Write the word whisper in the comments below if today's video helped you see something differently. It's my way of knowing this conversation reached you, and I respond to every single one personally.